Well, here I am with a metal bat and a wooden bat, and I have been kind of giving up on trying to convince kids to use nothing but wood. And I know that not only is it hard to find wood, but there are all kinds of techniques that you have to use to keep from breaking wood. I bet you didn't know that. I don't even think that major leaguers pay any attention to this. We're always told to keep the trademark up so that you wouldn't split the bat. And it is expensive replacing wooden bats. If you do get a wooden bat, I would suggest you buy a whole bunch at Walmart or someplace where they're not of a very high quality, but you figure you're going to break them anyway, so just buy 3 or 4 for the price of one of those nice maple wood bats. We've had those, and they might have lasted a month. Just money down the drain. Well, of course, you can avoid all that with a metal bat. And again, I understand that this is not only a financial decision for kids nowadays, but this is what you grew up with. It's what you're used to. So I've been trying to shift gears and figure out if there is indeed a way to apply some of the lessons in landing safeties that we drew out of the Deadball era to our age of metal. And I'm not real optimistic about that, but I'm trying, and I think I've probably squeezed about as much out of the experiments as I'm going to, the experiments that I've been doing right now. There's going to be a part 2 of this video, and I'm going to try to show you on the field in front of my machine what the best results are that you can expect. You can see that one of the big differences here is actually the knob, and it doesn't seem, well, okay, you say that's not a very big difference, but to my fingers it seems like it is. This knob, the handle is flaring into it more gradually, and this one, it's just like sticking out there like a knife, and I find that my bottom hand just doesn't comfortably travel around it. In fact, some of the things that I've tried to do are probably keeping my sore right elbow from healing. Remember last time I was telling you to perhaps try to wrap your ring finger around the knob and do all that garbage. I'm giving up on that. I mean, that's not necessarily in itself a painful thing, but the follow through with your bottom hand placed like that can be quite painful, I've found, as opposed to the follow through with a wooden bat. I don't know why. I don't know. It seems like your hand can travel more flexibly with this. Another thing, and this is really the main thing, everything that we've been talking about depends upon balance. Now, we've lately been experimenting with the kind of hop and then keeping the front foot pointed forward, as we found repeatedly that guys did, even in the 1880s and 90s. I'm sure they did that just so they could slide right into the ball. There's no Williams throwing of the hip. You just slide into the ball. You don't even have to lift the bat up very much because, remember, we're trying to enter the ball from a slightly downward angle. The barrel is already up. We're not going to hit the ball with our hands. The hands can be below the strike zone. As long as the barrel is up here, the barrel descends into the ball, and the descent is not going to be that severe because we're shifting as we slide the foot forward. We're shifting the weight forward too. So what seems like a steep descent of the barrel levels out, and that gives us that very modest downward angle of entry into the center of the ball. That gives us that modest backspin that we want to achieve low line drives. And I'm just repeating myself now, but this is a recap of what we've been doing with the wooden bat. And I love it because I love low line drives. And I don't want everybody to become, or to try to become, a home run hitter, especially short guys. It's just not going to work for you. Mother Nature didn't give you the extension of the arms and the other gifts of nature that will allow you to get all that bad acceleration. So why are you trying to jack it out of the yard when you're just going to achieve pop-ups? Low line drives is the name of the game for smallballsuccess.com. How do you do that with this bat? It's a problem, and this is why. And I'm saying this with some confidence now because I've done enough trials in front of the machine that the results are pretty coherent. I'm showing you the same thing, that I cannot actually just keep the hands here and then let the handle, the barrel of the bat descend into the ball. This is too light, and the weight is not distributed evenly. Something just goes wrong. It ain't working. I find that what I'm going to have to do, and I want to start with the hands actually a little lower because I'm going to lift them a little higher. And there's so many motions in baseball and in sports, even kicking a soccer ball. If you want to kick a ball hard, what do? You bring your foot way back so that you can snap it forward. You have to bring your arm back in order to bring it forward. So we're going to lower the bat even more than if it were wood because we're going to lift it higher. And then we'll do the slide and the drop. And it needs to be higher. Can I explain this clearly? I don't know. My joints are explaining it clearly. It's just too painful to try to spread the hands and do those other things we talked about and keep the bat low and then have that relatively level follow through. This is somehow or other, it's maybe because I'm trying to reach out so far. You can see it better if I'm coming right at you here. I'm trying to shift weight forward and to reach out, and I'm putting a lot of stress right here. I really feel it. I'd rather that this bat be closer to my body and that the barrel be higher, and I'm not putting so much stress on this forward arm. Sometimes I find that if I'm a little bit early, of course this is true with the wood too, the bat is going to slip out of the hand and I'll get that one-handed finish, but that's not the ideal swing. So what I'm going to be trying to do is to lift the barrel higher, and then I can come down with a nice compact swing into the ball. This is just as simple as it can be. I can't make it any simpler. And I'm discarding all this wrapping the knob with a finger or something. Let's just go back. We can still spread the hands. And that's the parallel reverse motion of the hands. Pull this one in, shoot this one down, the top hand. That's going to accelerate this bat at least as much as if we did, both hands on the bottom. Oh, the hip swinging and the big long swing. We're being quick to the ball, and we can get that by keeping the hand spread. We're still going to shift the weight forward, so that's going to somewhat level out that severe slope of the barrel into the ball. It's more severe now because I've actually got the hands raised. And I am finding in my test that, as you would expect, because of the severity of the slope, we're getting more pop-ups. There's a little bit too much backspin for me. I wish that were not so, but I think that any kind of swing, look at the game today. You have big guys hitting home runs, striking out, fouling the ball straight back, pop-ups, and then if they get out in front of the ball, that steep cut is coming back up again, and they're hitting these weak ground balls because they've severely topped the ball. And that's about it. I've described about every possible outcome of an at-bat in 2019. We can't escape that if we're going to use metal. But I think that this is a swing that has a higher probability of contact than the swings that the big guys are taking, where they wrap the thumbs around the bat and quick release of the top hand. They do the really, I'm standing on my knees right now, but that's about how much lower body mobility they have. They don't use the lower body much at all. Some of them don't even take a stride. Cock your elbow. Got to make sure I don't break my light fixture. Drive the hand down, quick release. Yeah, that hurts my elbow. Remember Dean Palmer, some of you old timers, he destroyed his elbow taking that swing. We're taking, our descent into the ball is not as severe as that, and it's a lot quicker. And because we have the hand spread, and we're still doing a little forward weight shift as much as we can, we're not going to miss very many pitches. We're not going to strike out very much. This is going to be a high probability of contact swing. You're going to get on base a lot. My son finally got me to read Jose Canseco's book, Juiced, this last month. And I like Jose a lot more than I did. Anybody who loves his mother and his daughter that much can't be all bad. But I still think he's just, as a student of the old game, I feel like he's misreading the whole purpose of the game, which for him is to make money and hit home runs and be idolized. Let the big guy be idolized, but if he's going to win games, he has to drive in runs, right? So we need a couple of guys at the top of the order who can get on base, and that's going to be you. You're going to somehow or other be on base 50% of the time. And let me say one last thing to wrap this up. I'm going to be doing this demonstration in part 2. Again, my little personal pitcher, Google it. It says that the personal pitcher, if you look up what is the MPH, how did I Google this last night? What distance does personal pitcher have to be to simulate 90 mph, something like that. But if you look it up on the internet, it's going to tell you 30 feet. I have my machine 15 feet from me. Now, it's an old machine, and I'm not saying that I'm hitting 150 mile an hour fastball. But the reaction time that I'm giving myself is right at the edge of what any professional player at any level has to face today. And I'm still making a pretty high percentage of contact on these pitches. So that's what you're doing with this stroke, even with your metal bat. You're the contact guy. You're going to put the ball in play. You're going to be the guy that Jose is going to drive in. And you're not going to get you may be driving a Volkswagen instead of a Cadillac, but the team that you're on is going to win games, and it'll be because of you. At least the coaches will recognize that. So go out there, try this, and be a winner.